What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So last video we made one of these Firefighter EMS radio buckets. Turned out pretty nice. So for this video I thought we could tackle the actual strap portion of it. But I want to take a quick second to say thank you to all the new subscribers. You guys are awesome. If you haven't subscribed, please consider. We're creeping up on 500, which is pretty cool to me. Figure we can kind of go over some of the hardware we got here real quick before we get started. So I got some 1-inch trigger snaps for the actual strap piece, and these are 3/4 trigger snaps for the anti-sway that we'll be making, as well as a center bar buckle, and there's part number from Buckle Guy if you are interested in ordering. As well as we got some of these button screw thingies, I forget what they're called. Got those from US Bind. So these are nice, super good quality. And then I decided to kind of cheat on the actual strap portion. I ordered a bunch of just pre-cut straps. So I got, this is Wicked & Craig traditional harness, 9 to 11 ounce, 1.5 inch for the actual strap. And then for making all of these other little pieces here, I just again got some pre-cut straps. So this is 1/2 inch strap, 3/4 strap, and what's this? That's not the right bag, but yeah. So got a couple different sizes. I think it's 5/8, 3/4, and 1/2 inch strap I got. So I'm going to slide all this stuff out of the way real quick, and then we can kind of go over our templates here like we normally do, just to give you guys some sizing, and we'll get into it. All right, so I kind of zoomed in here just to give you guys a better idea of like the the sizing, and so that way you can use the grid on the mat to kind of do your own measurements. I'm going to cover them very quickly. So this top one here is for the mic strap, and this is 3/4 by 3.5. This next one down here is for the cord keeper, and this is 1/2 inch by 6. This one here goes on the bottom of the straps to connect it to the trigger snaps, and that is 1 inch by 3 3/4, or sorry, by 3 1/4. And then this one here is the adjustable part where the buckle goes, and that is 8.5 by 1.5 inches. So take a screenshot. Hope that helps. All right. So like I said, when I was going about building this, I kind of cheated and just ordered some pre-cut straps from Buckle Guy, just to kind of make this go a little bit quicker. I do have a strap cutter, but I figure if I could just order a little bit of what I needed, it would save me a little bit of money versus having to buy a whole hide to kind of strap this out myself. Probably would have been cheaper in the long run to do that, but I didn't need a bunch of it. So this is kind of the reason I did it this way. The first piece we're going to do is this mic one. And I'm just kind of going through it real quick. Mark it. And we'll need 2 of these. So there's those 2 pieces. This is the mic strap, or the mic holder. This is the piece that we're going to put at the bottom to attach the trigger snaps to. And this is 1 inch strap. And we'll need 2 of these. So that's all those pieces cut out. So now what I'll do is I'm going to go through and burnish and bevel these. Well, I guess before we do that, I can go ahead and we can punch some holes real quick since we got this right here out. So I'm just going to line it all up. Now for this side, I'm going to use a pip and punch. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen these before. It's basically a hole punch with a little like slot cut into it. Got it on Amazon. Not very expensive, but it definitely saves you a little time. So I think what I'll do is, where'd my chisel or my punch go? I'm gonna mark these real quick and then punch them. And I'm just using that just to kind of center all this up again. So mark those. And then make sure that your line is going the right way. It's nice and straight. And you can see. And basically what that does, that puts a little slit in there, so that way when you push these through, it has some room to give. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and bevel these, do a quick sand, and dye them. All right, this is just 400, just a quick, just to kind of round over some of these edges here from where I punched them out. Now we'll bevel them real quick. This is just a number 2 Palo Santo beveler. Alright, and I'm going to get some dye, and then we'll get these edges dyed and start burnishing these pieces. Alright, so I just went through real quick and just did another little light sand on these with some 400 just to kind of make sure they were good to go. Acrylic paint marker just has some Phoebing's black dye in it. I'm just going to hit these and start burnishing. Alright, for the rest of these, I'm going to kick over to the Dremel with the burnishing wheel on it and speed this up. Alright, so here's my little contraption. This is just a drill press device got from Harbor Freight, just to hold this up so that way I can keep 2 hands on this stuff. Yeah, so let's get back to it. So when doing it this way, I can actually just go through and dye all the way around, which you can't really see. Let me try to keep you in frame. You can go through and run the dye on everything all the way around, get it nice and good, and then makes it a little faster. So I'll do a quick another sand on these again with some like 6 or 800, and then get some tokenol, and we'll finish burnishing them. All right, again, so this is just some 800, just to kind of clean up these edges. Cool. Now we'll get some tokenol and burnish these edges the rest of the way. Alright, so real quick, this is just a little 50-50 mix of tokenol and water. Just helps it come out of these little needle applicators a little easier. Then just dab it on there. Rub it in real good. And again, with using the Dremel like I have set up here, it allows me to basically put the stuff on all the sides versus if I was doing it by hand, have to do it like side by side, or like one side at a time, if that makes sense. All right, so we got those pieces ready to go. So now what we can do is we'll work on this template here, which is the actual like clamp, and then we'll save the long strap piece for last. So let me get cleaned up real quick, and then we'll get started on the next piece. All right, so what we're gonna work on now is this is the template for the actual adjustable buckle part. So you can make it an adjustable strap. So I got my 1.5 inch wide leather. This is, I guess it's a 40 millimeter half round. These are just like the cheap Amazon ones. Picked them up. They've done okay. They're not the best, but they get the job done. That's so loud. Alright, so now that we have that, now we can go through and I'll just get this lined up and start punching our holes. hole punch. This is the right size. Then for doing this part, I have one of these. Oh, never mind. It's not long enough. Did we get lucky? Nope. So when I do my belts, I have these little things I use to punch out that opening, but I guess when I did this, it's a little bit longer. So we'll have to basically use the hole punch to punch through it, and then use a knife to connect the dots. Now I'm not going all the way through on that side. I'll once I'm done, I'll go back through and cut the rest of the way from the other side. That way I don't cut into this. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if you can tell, if I keep pulling at the angle, I'll actually start cutting into the opposite side of the circle. So usually what I'll do is I'll just spin it back around and then come from this side. Yep. So, and then we'll take our edge beveler and just clean up those edges. Probably just take and just run a piece of sandpaper in there just to clean up the edges. Alright, so that's done. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and bevel and burnish this whole thing and get it dyed and all that good stuff. So just 400 grit sandpaper. Black dye. So I switched my wheel out. This one, I guess whenever they drilled the hole in the center, they didn't center it, so it's got a little bit of a wobble. That's why it's so noisy. I apologize. I will try to edit that out. Just in case I forget, there's a disclaimer. So did a quick burnish with the dye. Now I'm going to go back through with the 800 grit and just kind of clean up any spots that might have been missed before we hit it with the tokenol. Guess while I'm here I can try to, I don't think it's gonna work. Yeah, I can't get in there. But what you can do, get you a Sharpie. To get in those hard to reach places. And then take your normal wood slicker. you go. Now again, we'll take our tokenol and hit, just because this is such a bigger piece, I probably won't wrap around the whole thing. I'll probably do it edge by edge. Cool, so now what we can do is we can go ahead and assemble this piece. All right, so we're gonna get our heel center bar buckle thing. I forget exactly what it's supposed to be called. So that's gonna go in there like that. No. Like this. So this is where I guess you would need to decide whether or not you want the backs of your rivets up or down. I'm gonna push mine through the bottom. That way my burr is on the top. Try to do this to where, yeah, you can still see that. Set it all the way just yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and get them started first, and then I'll come back and set them the rest of the way. One of these little, again, this is just from Harbor Freight. This is just one of their little anvils. I'm able to, balance the buckle off the edge while I set these and get everything started. Now that they're where I want them. So there's that, and then this is where our trigger snaps come in. If I can get the tag off. So these are just 1-inch trigger snaps, and these just get folded over like that. That goes there, that goes there. Kind of crunch it down. And again, I just starting it, look at it, make sure I like where it is, everything is going the right way, and then we will drive it home. Okay. Let me go ahead and get these clipped and pinned down. All right, so like I was saying, the reason why I like doing it this way is, shout out to Alexa at So-Filled Leather. Doing it this way makes this serviceable. So if this trigger snap ever breaks, I can just pop that rivet off, put a new one on, put it back together. If for some reason this piece ever wears out or this runs through, I can make a new one of these, pop a rivet back on it, back in service. Whereas some of the other ones that I see where they run this all the way down and fold it over, if that strap ever breaks, then you'd either have to do something like this to repair it or shorten it to give you more meat to add on to. So like I said, I like doing it this way. I've made one so far that's actually in service, and I haven't got any complaints yet. Actually, the only issue I had was I forgot to Loctite one of these little studs on, and it fell off. Not a big deal. So now while we have that, let's get one of these cord keepers assembled. All right, so this is for one of the cord keepers. Again, you get a little bit of Loctite, and this stuff comes out quick. And then take and thread it on there. Hold it and tighten it up, and then just wipe away any of the excess. And then from here, you need to figure out what side you want this on. So it goes like this. This folds over. This goes this way. So depending on what side you carry your radio on, it's got this little thumb tab that you can kind of flip if you want to open it. I would say I think this. So if you're carrying it on the right side, right? So this will be sitting like this. This will be folded over. That way, if you walk past something, it's not going to catch and flip it open. Doing it this way. So let me grab my rivet. Get that there. And again, I'm just going to set it. Go get it started. Make sure it's straight. And then when I cut these, I like to squeeze a little bit and then turn. And it kind of tapers the edge up. So when you go to round it over, so this basically gets folded like this, and then it's a little snug because it's all new, but so with this one, when I made the other one, I forgot that I just cut this slit a little bigger, because the head of this pippin stud thing, or whatever you want to call it, is a little bit bigger than the ones that Tandy sells. So yeah, so now it clips in there a lot easier. So pop off, boom, and that'll basically keep your mic cord. And the reason I did it like that, again, just from catching it from the way Sofield does it, you don't have to take the microphone off the radio to put it all together. You just pop that off, lay your mic cord down, pop it back on, you're good to go. All right, so let's do the actual strap part now. So I will say, if you guys decide to do it the way I did it, where you just buy a bunch of pre-cut strap, you'll need to buy 2 of these just to make sure you have enough material to make the actual harness itself, so, or the strap. So I'm making this one, it's just a generic, just like a 60-inch adjustable, so you'll be able to go up a couple and down a couple. And for starters, I'm just going to round this side over, and then we'll start from here and work our way down. So, and then just to make it a little bit easier on myself, I'm just going to use this to mark my hole, right? And this is not that one, 3/4 of an inch down. So from here to here is 3/4 of an inch, right? And that's where we'll basically fold this over, which I guess we can just do that now. Let me grab my anvil. No, we can't, because we got to burnish it. So I guess what we can do now is figure out the total length. So We're making a 60-inch strap. I'll try to explain this as painless as possible. All right, so we're ready to start assembling, or not assembling, but getting this measured out so that we can bevel and burnish all this. So like we did on this, we're going to do the same thing on this side. So we need to figure out the length of our main strap body. So if we basically assemble and fold this over, right, and then we got our ruler down here. If I put it to where it's just inside the eyelet and I bring it to here, so from that edge there to that hole should be pretty close to 3 inches, right? So we know that on this side we're going to basically gain 3 inches from where that hole is to the end of our strap, right? So on this side we want to figure out the same. So if we put that there and we go to this other side, it should be pretty close to 8 inches. So that would be between these two pieces, we're gaining 11 inches. So when we measure this out, I'm going to flip this around. We need to factor that into our measuring. So if we're making a 60-inch strap and we're losing 11 inches because of these pieces, or we're gaining 11 inches adding these pieces, that means our adjustable portion needs to be 49 inches. So on this side, which I guess I need to zoom out so I can get you guys in frame. Yeah. If I start here, right, because I'm not factoring that in there, and I pull this out, I need to basically make my first hole at 49. So I'm going to start this here. I'm just going to pull this down here. You're not going to be able to see it, but just know that that's where it's at. I'll pull this out to where it goes. There it says 49, right? So right here. So that's almost this whole strap. Let me adjust so that way you can see. So what I need to do is essentially mark that right there at 49. I have some templates I made for doing a like a regular belt. So I got my center hole and I got some adjustments, right? So if I make sure we're good on this end. So 49 is right there. So I'm just going to take my awl and just mark a little dot so I know, right? And then that way too I can move you guys back over here and pull this down, and then we can work this way, right? So I got my marker there, and this is just a regular belt. So if I put that there, right, so there's my dot from my awl. Find my chisel, and mark it. So I got one there, one there, there, and then there, and I need to slide this up. And add another one there. So that gives me my center hole at 60 once this is all done, and that gives me 3 inches both ways to adjust. And then I guess if I think I can just eyeball where to cut it off at. I think I'll just cut it there. Gives me a little tail. All right, now let's go back through and punch our holes. I think I'm actually going to use a slightly bigger punch to punch these. So that's, again, all my holes. I got my center one for 60, and then I got 3 inches up or down, depending on if said person needs it to be bigger. So now we need to, this again might be a little confusing. I will try not to make it confusing, but we need to find the center of the strap, right? So if, pull out my tape measure again, I'm going to put the end down here at 3 inches, and then I'm going to find 30. So that is the center or the middle of my strap. From there, let me look at my notes. We need to measure down 4 inches, right? So 30, we come to 34, that's 4 inches. That's going to be where the mic strap starts. So real quick, I'm just going to take my wing dividers, right? And I'm just going to basically make these 3/4. That way we can find the center of that strap a little bit easier. So that should be 3/4. So again, if I come down here to 34, right, and I just mark. So that's going to be where my hole is going to go for the top of the mic strap, and then I'm going to come down 2.5 inches from there. So that'd be 36.5. And that'll be where the mic holder goes. And then from there, I want to measure down another 6 inches. So that would be what? And this will be where the other mic cord keeper will go. All right, so now that basically all of this is done, I'm gonna go ahead and bevel and burnish all this stuff, and then we will assemble all of these pieces, and the strap will be done. This is the fun part. This is where having one of those like stands, you can kind of set this in to hold it upright. Makes this go by a lot quicker. All right, now we can throw some Tokonol on it. And I'll show you guys how I tackle both sides of this at the same time. So I'm just squirting, well, that's probably too much, some Tokonol out. And then I'm just gonna try to hit this whole thing real quick. Already did the other side. Alright, so I got Tokonol pretty much on both sides. And now what I'll do is I'll take a rag, basically grab it, and just pull. And that basically, doing it like that, lets me burnish both sides at the same time. Let me see if I can get you guys a little better angle. And you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, but come on. It's nice and smooth. Alright, so now what we can do is we can go ahead and finish, now that everything's all burnished, go ahead and, stop running away. We can go ahead and finish assembling all of this. This will need to assemble this part. So these are the holes are a little tight, so I usually will thread this in. Get that going. Get our Loctite. Don't forget this. This was the first one I built. I forgot to do this to one of these, and it did come out. Not the end of the world, but it sucks having to get it back from the person or wait till they're off duty to be able to fix it. And then tighten it and wipe off any of the excess. And make sure when you do this, it's the same as the one that's on the other side. So this is how this will go. So I want it on that side. And don't forget, if you use that pip and punch tool thing, just to make that a little bit bigger, so that way when you go to push this through, it goes through a little bit easier. So yeah, so that is basically it. So now we can put on the other piece. So I'll put that to our middle hole, which is there. Run that down, and boom, it's done. So, all right, so the last piece of the puzzle is the anti-sway. So I try to make them 10 inches, but I usually will just cut out like 12 inches. All right, guys. I told you wrong a second ago. So I went through and just kind of redid this, and I'm going to go over the dimensions real quick. So I basically made this 15 inches total, right? Came in 3/4 inches on both sides, and then from there, hole to hole is almost 2 inches, right? And that basically gives me from this center hole to this center hole 10 inches for the sway. So that's basically how I did that. I don't know what I was thinking earlier. I guess where I messed up was when I made the first one, I didn't really go through and take notes. I just kind of winged it and got it all together versus, you know, keeping track of my sizes, spacing, you know, all that good stuff. So lesson learned. If you're making something, try to keep notes on what you're doing, especially if you possibly want to. Makes it a little bit easier. And I'll try to add pictures of the strap that I did originally. I actually went through and hand stitched all of this. It took me like 3 hours to go through and hand stitch it all. Not fun. It was cool. I could say that I did it, but definitely don't think I'll go through and do it again. Cool. So I'm gonna get the workbench cleaned up real quick, and then I will bring the strap over here and kind of show you guys the finished product. Alright, so here it is all finished up. So you can see got our cord keeper. We got 3 inches up and 3 inches down adjustability. There's the cord keeper for the center, and then that is the mic holder, right? So shoulder there keeps it close to your shoulder. And then you have all of this real estate on the back to be able to go through and stamp it or whatever. From the one I did, the person's last name was rather short, so I measured from the trigger snap out about 16 inches, which would basically put it there, I think is where I started, and then kind of went up. So again, if this is the center of the back, you can kind of use all of, oh, you can't even see, I'm a dummy. Again, I don't actually, thinking about it now, I don't think it was 16 inches. I think it might have been 16 to like the center leather. So if you go, again, that's at 16 inches there, and you measure zeros here. So if you start the name here, this should basically put it relatively center in the middle of the strap. So like if I pull this down here, right, you can kind of imagine like that's where the name would be. So again, nothing crazy. Again, shout out to Sofield Leather. That's kind of where I got this design from. Watched a bunch of videos and just kind of took bits and pieces from different guys. I like the serviceability of the way that he does these, so I use those. And then even these cord keepers are cool because you don't have to remove the mic from the radio to feed it through. The ones that are like belt loops, you just pop that open, you're good to go. And then just clip it on your bucket. This is supposed to go in the back, and that is your radio strap. So once again, thanks everybody for watching. Any comments, greatly appreciated. Feedback's always good. Thanks to all the new subscribers. If you're not currently subscribed, please consider. Trying to see the channel grow. And once again, thanks for watching. Oh, one more thing. I used number 12 rivets for here just because that's what I had. I don't plan on, this is kind of just like a demo, like a sample that I'm going to be using for like when I go to craft shows and stuff. So if you guys were to build this, I would highly recommend using number 9 rivets. So just to give you an idea of the difference, I have some here. I didn't have enough to do the whole thing, so and wanted to keep it all consistent and the same. This is a number 9 versus a 12. So you can see the difference. So like I said, definitely recommend using the 9s and not 12s. But once again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. See you guys on the next one.